Hi, Alyssa.
Hey, Katie.
Welcome to episode 341, Avoiding the Messiness of Real Estate.
It is very easy for things to get messy real fast. All of a sudden, things are going really well until they're not.
No matter how good you think you are.
Correct.
This can happen. We tried our best to remember a phantom episode that you think exists.
I feel like we've already recorded this episode.
I know, but
we can't find it, though.
We can't find it.
So we must not have covered this topic. But if you have heard a similar episode, let me know because it's driving me crazy.
We searched and searched and searched.
I thought it was called tidy contracts or keep your paperwork tidy or dot your I's and cross your T's. But
we do have an episode about writing offers.
Yeah.
I feel like maybe it's in there.
Maybe so.
Regardless, we're going to start again because you can never cover this topic too much.
You cannot. You cannot. We want to remind y'all that we need to treat real estate as a business.
Right.
We need to treat our paperwork like attorneys.
They're legal contracts.
Yes.
It's vital that we are scared to do it wrong.
Mm-hmm.
We need to really have some fear in us.
And some of this was inspired because we had a new broker reach out to us. She had been an agent for a while and is in now a broker management position.
Right.
And she was saying she's struggling because she's realizing that when she goes to go through the paperwork, there's a lot of things left blank, initials missing, things are not annotated the way they should be. And now that she's the broker, the agents are aggravated with her because she's sort of the compliance person.
Well, the problem was that she had several high-producing veteran agents who were basically resisting doing it correctly.
Yes.
They were like, this is how I've always done it kind of vibes.
And I can sort of understand that because at our office, it took a minute for them to get a software that was as strict that now every single time I have a closing, I get an email with like 20 things and I'm very tidy in my paperwork.
Give me an example of some of the 20 things.
Like I didn't put the time that I received something.
Okay.
Or maybe I did it when I received it, but I'm not signing anything right now. I'm calling my seller. I'm going over the due diligence. We have 72 hours to respond.
Mm-hmm.
72 hours later, they're ready to respond, and I just sign it when I send it to them to sign. But then the times don't add up.
So your office is asking you to go in and change the time?
They're just wanting to make sure that it's correct, that if ever we got sued over anything.
So what do you in that instance do? If you e-signed and it had a time attached to your signature, do you have to... I'm literally asking you.
I know.
How do you handle it?
I went in and found the original email from when it was sent to me and changed it.
So you had to hand sign it then?
Like on the computer.
You can change the time of an e-sign?
I mean, not through e-sign, but through like a PDF program.
Oh my God. What if I told you the secret to efficient client management was free?
And simple, and keeps everything in one place.
That's exactly what Alyssa's updated Trello tutorial delivers.
This is the system I use for every single transaction, and it saves me hours.
No more digging through emails or juggling a million checklists. In fact, she's even going to teach you how to use it with the Hustle Humbly transaction checklist.
Just one beautiful Trello board that keeps your business running smoothly.
Grab the tutorial now at hustlehumblypodcast.com/Trello.
Because simple systems equal happy agents. So it's really made me I'm also experiencing some growing pains.
Okay.
It's the systems will kick back so much.
Right.
And there are things where even my office may be okay with me doing something one way, but the system keeps kicking things back. It's very frustrating. But I was always in years past a little bit envious of the companies that, let's say I had a closing and then a week after the closing, I get an email from the other agent that says, hey, I just noticed there was one seller initial missing on page 9 of the property disclosure, which is also the page that they sign.
Okay.
So you have to sign it and initial
Which
at
is
the bottom.
redundant and moronic.
Yeah, and they have since removed that initial line.
Fair.
But at the time, it was still there, and her office wasn't paying her until that tiny initial...
A week after closing?
Uh-huh.
I have a lot of questions about this.
I think that she just turned in her paperwork. I'm guilty of this. And then I will one day, like 3 days later...
I never got paid?
Well, I'll be like, I need to make sure everything's tidy. Like, because I get an email when I get my pay stub.
Okay.
There has been a time where I didn't get an email, and it's been 2 days.
Okay.
And I log in, and it's not there, and then I have to reach out.
Okay. In the instance of the story,
Yes.
How hard was it for you to track down your seller and to get them to then initial this one page?
3 minutes. I literally just sent it to them and said, hey, we were missing an initial if you wouldn't mind logging into your email.
What if they had been non-compliant?
I have had situations where there are certain office documents required for me specifically that a seller maybe didn't feel comfortable signing, like dual agency stuff. Even though it's just a disclosure, they still don't feel comfortable signing it.
Okay.
So if there's ever a situation like that, we are supposed to annotate it that it was delivered and explained on this day at this time.
Seller
and
refused to sign.
Seller refused to sign it.
Okay.
And then we just upload it. And then it gets kicked back and it says, this was not signed. And I'm like, I know.
I told you they're not going to sign it.
The machines must be... And then we have to manually overwrite it because the machines are trained to check the blanks.
Got it.
So it's almost like you want to write those things
in the
signature blank.
Yeah.
I was just putting it at the top of the document.
Oh, I would have put it in the signature blank.
So this is just a very small part of what we're talking about today.
Yeah.
But with all the new systems out there, brokers are struggling to get their agents in compliance. And there are some offices that have been using systems for so long. But I do think that just with the litigious environment of real estate, brokers are feeling like they need to cover themselves even more.
Right. And I remember in my previous office, which was, I would say a mid-ish sized RE/MAX office. I feel like they had frequent LREC, so the Louisiana Real Estate Commission, audits of their paperwork. Yes. Frequent. Once a year, every other year, enough to where my broker was like, they're going to audit us. It's not like an IRS tax audit. Maybe you live your whole life without ever being audited. Maybe you don't. She was like, they will audit us.
Yeah.
They're going to come. They're going to check the paperwork. So we got to keep it tidy. We got to keep it in compliance because I don't want to get fined for you not doing something that was simple for you to do.
Yeah.
Right? Like most of this is just a matter of filling something out.
Yes. And it's really kept me on my A game. It's made me slow down even more when I'm reviewing paperwork, making sure.
You have to think like a computer now?
I do a little bit. Yeah. I have to be like, the computer's not going to like this. So sometimes when I do e-sign, I just delete the time and date and I type it as I'm sending it to my client.
Okay.
So that way it's not auto-stamped in that moment.
I see.
So anywho, that I really didn't mean for it to go off on this much of a tangent.
Wow.
But to an extent, the growing pains, I think, are good. And just a reminder that when you're writing contracts, a lot of time people will leave the interest rate blank.
Mm-hmm.
And they will leave the financing terms blank. Mm-hmm. Like you can't leave blanks in a purchase agreement. We were always trained that you have to put NA. If you're not using that blank.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's a good way to do it.
Yeah, just to keep
I couldn't speak to the legality of it. I don't know that if you don't put an NA, if there's some kind of repercussion if something were to happen. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I think from what I've seen, what agents leave blank the most is the interest rate number.
Right.
And actually, that's a big deal because that could give their client, the buyer, an out.
Right.
Of the contract.
You want to put that in there.
You want to put something. Mm-hmm. The way our purchase agreement reads, it just is sort of a brief outline of what the buyer's financing plans to be. There should, of course, be a pre-approval letter that matches the terms of the purchase agreement. But But the problem is that, and then we also have a line that says, in the event that the buyer opts to change their financing in a way that affects the seller in no way, the buyer reserves the right to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So if they want to switch lenders, if they want to do a different loan program that they just learned about, as long as it doesn't affect your time frame
Yeah.
and the seller, the buyers are welcome to do whatever they want.
Right.
But if they put, let's say, 6.0% in the interest rate blank, and they decide to switch lenders, and now the interest rate is 6.3%,
Mm-hmm.
and per the contract, legally, if it goes over the number you put there, you have a way out.
Right.
So there's just so many situations that can happen
Mm-hmm.
that make these blanks that you think aren't a big deal are actually, it's like it's not a problem until it's a problem.
That's what I wrote here on my paper
Then it's a big
to make sure we said.
Yes.
It's not a problem until it's a problem.
Right.
So what we're trying to do is avoid it being a problem when there's a problem,
Correct.
right? Ideally, it never comes up. It's no big deal. Maybe in 99.9% of your contracts, it is no big deal.
Mm-hmm.
No one's going to care. But in the 0.01%,
If you're approaching closing and you have a desperate buyer or a desperate seller looking for a way
that's the episode.
to get out.
Loopholes.
Loopholes.
That is the episode.
Katie, I think
There is a whole episode called Loopholes.
Oh my gosh.
That's the one you're thinking of.
It's gotta be.
Mhm.
If y'all haven't listened to that one in a while,
Yeah.
go find it because it is
That's
good.
the one.
I actually share a specific story about
Yeah.
someone who backed out because of this interest
Oh,
rate.
thank God it came to us.
Loopholes.
All right. Okay. Yeah.
Okay,
That's the
good.
one. Okay.
Okay.
Let's move on from our compliance friend to, you want to talk about verbal agreements?
Yeah, this kind of came up because I was just doing a transaction. And for the record, it went perfectly well. We have already closed. It's over. I don't have any sad, bad things to say
You don't
about
have any
it.
negative
I don't
residual
have, this
feelings?
is not a negative story.
Okay.
The other agent was a friend of mine.
Okay.
And they submitted their repair request on a Friday evening. And she was like, just let me know if you need more time. You know, I know your 72 hours is falling on a weekend, which would have been Monday evening at 6:00. Well, sure enough, we're pressing for time. And I was like, hey, let me know. I said, I don't know if I'm going to make this 6 p.m. Let me know if you want me to do an addendum for an extension. And she's like, no, we're okay. Like, it's fine. My people are fine. I'll just email you letting you know that it's fine to have an extension. And I ended up getting it submitted at 5:30. So we didn't need one. But it made me go, this is one of those moments where you think everything's going to be fine because everything's fine.
Mm-hmm.
And it ended up being okay, but it could have not been okay.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a reminder too that when you are doing a transaction, it doesn't matter if the other agent is your best friend. It doesn't matter if the buyer or seller is your family
Right.
or your best friend.
Mm-hmm.
You need to treat every single transaction as in the most professional manner that you can.
Yeah.
And you don't want to fudge on your boundaries in any way.
No.
Ever.
No.
How hard would it be to take 5 minutes to just type up a quick addendum?
Yeah.
Just do it.
Right.
Make yourself feel better about it.
She never sent you the email?
She did. So I had it. And
Something was in writing.
Something was in writing.
Okay, that's good.
And to be honest, I only had like 2 hours before I got to my computer, which was 5:30. And at that time, I had the information I needed to submit the repair request. If
that's
I
good.
didn't, I would have sent an extension at 5:30
Yeah.
because I was available to do that.
Okay.
But it was just a reminder that, you know, it doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
And if somebody wanted to back out in that situation, you are leaving a vulnerable opportunity for that to happen.
Will you read us your definition you found here for the verbal agreements,
Yes.
please?
So in the United States,
Mhm.
verbal agreements in real estate are not legally binding for the sale or transfer of property. Nearly every state has a version of the statute of frauds, which requires contracts for the sale of land and leases and other major real estate agreements to be in writing and signed to be enforceable in court. A verbal promise is not enforceable. So I know I have a few different, I'm kind of bouncing around.
That's okay. You have a story?
A story on this whole verbal thing as well. I just listed a house recently, and we got an offer that was extremely far from what we were listed for in the first week.
Okay.
And my sellers, who are delightful people, were obviously upset, but they're reasonable, and we had some pricing conversations. So we countered, we go back and forth. We finally land at a number higher than the original offer, but still far from what they wanted.
Okay.
And they said, can you please tell the buyer that because we're coming to this price, we are not doing anything during due diligence?
Yeah.
And how many times do we have sellers say
All
this?
the time. It's such a common thing they say during negotiation of the original contract. So common.
Yeah, well, they better know we're not doing a thing. You know, they're stealing this house, and we're not doing anything. And do they know? Do they know that? Do they agree that they're not going to beat us up during due diligence?
How do you handle this?
I said, listen, I know you're frustrated, but here's my spiel. Number one, the contract has a 10-day due diligence written into it. Unless they put 0 or waived that, they are allowed to have their inspections and do their due diligence, and they are allowed to submit a repair request.
Yeah.
I can set their expectations properly.
Yeah.
I can courtesy call the agent and say, listen, because we came down to this price, we have no more buffer.
Yeah.
We do not have a lot of room to be beat up during due diligence.
Yeah.
I actually had this conversation before we accepted their final.
Yeah.
Like, listen, I would like to accept this, but my disclaimer to you, Mr. Agent, is that inspections are going to be sparse. We are not going to be able to do much of anything. Of course, if there's a deal breaker item, please discuss it with us, but they are not in a position to receive a huge punch list. So I told them I had that conversation, but that does not mean that they are going to ask or not ask.
How did the agent respond to that?
Oh, for sure, for sure. These are good clients of mine. You know, I helped them buy their last house. They're very reasonable. They're good with old houses. I don't see them getting cold feet. Just very reassuring because I haven't signed that acceptance yet.
Right. They're just trying to get the original deal done.
Yes.
What happened in inspection? Do you remember this one?
I'm in the midst of it.
Oh, okay.
But they have
Did they
had
ask
their
for
inspections.
Okay.
And they went back for a second inspection.
Oh, that doesn't sound good.
And they're going back for a third inspection.
my word.
And I'm like, hey, Mr. Agent, I just wanted to be like the friendly reminder that, you know,
you look all you want, but
yeah, we don't have a lot of funds over here because of the price you got the property for.
What was the vibe when
and he was like, I know they're really worried about this one thing, and you know, we may just ask for some closing costs to get us through this one item that is just really, you know, stuck in their brain. And I'm like, okay. Also, he had put a 14-day due diligence, which is actually too long.
Yeah.
But he was like, I just did that because the inspector I used was like out of town or something. But we're not going to take that long. We're going to get it done.
It sounded like you were. You were going to take that long.
And he is, in fact, taking this long. So we're approaching day 12.
Okay.
I still don't have a repair request. It's fine, but it just goes to show.
You know how much we hate when you tell us a story that's mid-story.
I know, I'm sorry.
Because we don't know what's going to happen.
My anticipation is that they are going to ask for a large number in closing costs.
What is the seller going to do?
I think we're going to counter. I think they're very reasonable people. They want to counter.
Okay.
I think we'll come to an agreement on money.
I'm glad that came up because this was my question and my thought process. The only true downfall of telling the other agent in the beginning, listen, we've come down so far in this negotiation of the original contract that inspections are for your knowledge only. We're not going to be able to make a bunch of repairs. We don't have any more budget, right?
Right.
And then let's just say that agent really takes that to heart.
Mhm.
Then they tell their buyer that. And then the buyer does the inspection and finds something that maybe isn't truly that expensive
Right.
and just says, well, let's cancel because the seller said they won't take care of it. And this is very important to me and they're not willing to do anything.
Right.
And then the seller doesn't even have the option.
That's why my sellers said, please tell them not to submit a repair request. That's not how my conversation went with the other agent. It was very,
Oh, yeah.
Listen, we don't have a lot of cushion.
Yeah.
Of course, if there's something major wrong with the house, we're going to have to fix it regardless of who buys it.
Right.
So let's just keep the conversation open. I did not want to relay the message in the way that my seller would have.
Yeah.
Which is why we're here as agents, to use discernment.
Yeah.
And to deliver the message in the way that we know it needs to be delivered.
Yeah, so that you can, ideally, everyone wants to get to closing.
We're keeping it collaborative without emotions involved.
Yeah. Okay.
The sellers are emotional. But a few things happened here. Number one, he said he wasn't going to use all 14 of his days, and he is. Fine. You have that right. I also prepared my sellers. I never told my sellers that he mentioned, well, we're not going to use all 14 of our days.
Yeah, I would never.
I just told my sellers they have a 14-day due diligence.
Right, because that's the facts.
Yeah.
The rest of it's verbal nonsense.
Correct. And then your knowledge only, I also explained it to my sellers as, here's the thing, here's why I can't tell them that we're not willing to do anything. Because we don't even know what that means, and they don't even know what that means.
Yeah.
Because no inspection has happened.
Right.
So you don't know that if there's something wrong with your AC and it has to be fixed regardless, we don't know what we're agreeing or not agreeing to yet.
Right.
We have to have, I'm like, I know this is the worst part of this whole process is being during the inspection. But I really think if we can just take it day by day, let them have their inspections. And well, what if they ask for this? They can ask for anything they want.
You still can say no.
You can say no. You don't have to do anything you don't want to. You just won't sell your house.
Yeah.
And we will have to disclose things that were found during due diligence.
Yeah.
So we need to not lose too much sleep over our guesses over what might happen.
Did the seller take that okay?
Yeah, he did.
Okay.
He was like, I know.
Okay.
You're right. I'm so.
And it's
He's like,
really
"You're right.
hard to.
You're right.
14 days of worrying is a lot.
It is a lot. And I have been trying to just like check in on them
Yeah.
and let them know.
Are they living in the property?
No, it's vacant
Okay,
now.
Good, because they're going back over and over again for inspections.
And I think that's also why the buyers are, because they know they can.
Yeah, so it's no harm. We're not putting anyone out.
The biggest thing, I think verbal is only good for setting expectations.
Yeah.
It's not going to help you get a shorter due diligence period.
Yeah.
It's not going to guarantee that you're not going to receive a messy inspection response.
Mhm.
It is strictly there to set proper expectations, deliver the information that needs to be delivered.
Yeah.
But if it is anything regarding a time frame or anything like that, it's not worth anything.
Yeah. Okay, do we want to talk a little bit about other messy things that happen in a contract?
Yeah.
Let's do what they like to call in Louisiana immovables.
Oh, yeah.
Movables and immovables, right?
Mhm.
So movables are things in your house that move.
Yes.
The refrigerator, the washer dryer, your furniture,
All
the
moves.
rugs, it all moves. Immovables are the things that it's the property, right?
They are
What's attached.
affixed to
Right.
the house like a TV mount.
I wish I would have looked up what they call these in other places. You know, we have a lot of weird language here.
Yeah.
Maybe they do still. I don't know. Regardless, let's talk a little bit about appliances.
Okay.
And grills.
Yes.
And
Yes.
couches and furniture. When people go to write their contract and they start writing a laundry list of all the things they'd love to stay with the property.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever I first started, this was pretty common. Someone asked for the washer, dryer, fridge, right? Like those are the three things that are most commonly asked for.
Yes.
Because they're appliances. It feels like they belong with the house, but truly they can be moved, right?
And the lenders don't mind if they're in the contract.
Well, that's what I was saying. When I first started, it was such a big sticking point.
Mm.
So many people at that time in the 2006, 7, 8 range were using an FHA loan.
Mm.
And in an FHA loan, you have to be really careful with the wording there. They have to remain with no value. It's so important that they have no value because the seller can't be giving the buyer more than what's allowed by FHA,
Yes.
right? So especially if those people are asking for closing costs, which they almost always were.
Mm-hmm.
It has gotten a little easier because most people go conventional, as we learned in our last
In our
data
NAR
episode. Right. So it doesn't come up as much. I still find, and they have added that wording into our contract where it's like anything in these blanks is at no value.
Correct.
Right? It's just put in there for you, which has solved the lender problem.
Mm-hmm.
But let's talk about the time that you and I did a deal where there was a fridge in the lines, but the way the lines were broken out, the fridge was on the beginning blank. We're auto put in. I can't control it, right?
I know.
And so there's like a line of text, and there's just a little bit of the blank, and then there's a whole
short line.
There's a whole bunch of blanks. Fridge.
Yeah.
And you had the seller. The seller took the fridge.
Yes.
After closing, it must have been there at the walkthrough.
You called me.
Oh, it was during the walkthrough.
Yeah.
Oh, at least we caught it before closing.
We did.
Okay. The fridge is gone. My buyers are like, "Where's the fridge?" And I'm like, "Hey, where's the fridge?"
And I'm like, it's not in the purchase agreement.
Yeah. And then how did that go?
I pulled it up. First, I pulled up the email I send to my sellers.
Right. With all the details.
And it just said washer dryer to remain.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay. So then I go to the purchase agreement. And I'm like, yeah, it says washer dryer. And then I'm like, oh,
it's just,
my gosh, it's on that tiny line up there.
I know.
Right there. And I don't remember what I had to do. They brought it back. I was going to have to buy one is what was going to have to happen. But I called them, explained the situation, sent them the screenshot of where it said refrigerator.
Yeah.
And they were like, honestly, thank God. They were like, honestly, we aren't going to be using that one because the house we bought has one.
Okay.
And I have it in storage. I can bring it back. I'm like, yeah,
please.
I'm sorry. This is totally my fault. I said, if you were planning on keeping it, let me know. And it was just one of those things.
Okay. Worked out. Thank God. Okay. But as the agent writing the contract, the more things you put in there, the more things that can go wrong. Right?
Sure.
It just makes it messier.
How clean can we write this contract?
Whenever people said, I'm sending you an offer and it's very clean, those are my favorite things to hear, especially if they know what that means.
Yes.
I don't want your extra appliances in here. I don't want any weird occupancy stuff. I don't want anything in blank lines. I don't want anything in blank lines, right?
Correct. Yeah. Just NA all that.
Just don't. But it's funny about appliances because sometimes the buyer wants it. Sometimes the seller wants to get rid of it. Sometimes the seller really, who knows? It could go any of these ways. And when it goes wrong, it's just like, sometimes the seller's like, well, I gave it away because I thought you didn't want it.
Right.
It wasn't in the contract.
That situation.
Right. So.
And that's where what you write in MLS, like we are trained, you do not write refrigerator, washer, and dryer stays with the property.
Right.
You write can stay at buyer's request.
Or negotiable.
Yes, negotiable, can stay at buyer's request. I mean,
feeling like something might slip through the cracks in your transactions?
Not anymore. We've got you covered with the Hustle Humbly Buyer and Seller Transaction Checklist.
They walk you through every step from pre-listing or pre-offer all the way to post-closing.
These checklists can be used however you need. Uploaded to your CRM, a transaction management software, your Trello, or even handed to an office admin or your assistant.
So you stay organized, deliver consistent service, and never miss a beat.
Whether you're brand new or a seasoned pro, these checklists help you work smarter, not harder.
Get yours at hustlehumblypodcast.com/checklist to run your business with confidence and ease. Okay, so if we're talking about writing a contract and not making it messy, I'll tell you a story. I was the buyer's agent.
Okay.
My sweet first-time buyers have looked at quite a few houses. This was years ago. There were many to look at. They pick one. They're like, we love it. This is the one. Okay, great. I'm so excited. We write the offer. They're like, we really need the refrigerator to stay because we're asking for the closing costs. We don't have any money to buy a fridge. We need the fridge. Okay. Send in the offer. I don't recall this being a particularly wild market, but I guess this was a good house and multiple people were interested. And as we're negotiating back and forth on our offer, another offer comes in. Okay. Listing agent's like, listen, we've received another offer. If you'd like to change yours, let us know. And I'm like, okay, fine. My buyers are like, okay, great. This is as high as we can go. We still need these closing costs. And I'm like, well, what about this fridge? And they're like, well, we really need that fridge. And I'm like, okay, let's just say this fridge is however old. It's maybe worth $1,000, right?
Mm-mm.
Like, are you sure? Yes, I'm sure. They lost the house because they left the fridge in.
Oh, no.
So their offer wasn't strong enough because they wanted an old fridge.
Do you want an old fridge or do you need shelter?
Like, or do you want
need
this
a
house?
Yeah.
So it's like, as soon as you add things into a contract, you never know what is going to be the deciding factor on a seller saying no.
Mm-hmm.
But you also never know when someone else is going to swoop in. Like, you want to get that negotiation done as fast as possible.
Yeah.
Like, I know people get all kind of annoyed whenever the buyer's agent puts in a short response time.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there is a difference between professional courtesy and like what makes sense. I'm not by any means saying you should give 3 days to respond, but
sorry, Jay.
But honestly, you got to get that stuff wrapped up.
Yeah.
And especially if your buyer's like, I want to go back over $500, I'll be like, I don't think you do.
Right.
Because do you want to lose it over $500? Someone, again, can show up at any time. The seller can say, never mind, I don't agree to anything I already told you.
Mm-hmm.
I want to go back up. It's just like, it's such a fragile, volatile time.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, we need to keep this tidy.
Yes, very tidy.
Keep it clean.
I can't believe they lost it over the fridge.
They lost it over the fridge.
Gosh, this was probably back in 2013. So I was still newish, 2 years in. But I had put in the description of MLS that the refrigerator, washer, and dryer stay with the home.
Okay.
These things were ancient.
Okay.
Ancient, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And unaesthetically pleasing, like not pretty to look at.
They were ugly.
They were so
These
ugly.
were ugly appliances.
Ugly old appliances.
Okay.
We receive an offer. The appliances were not asked for.
Okay.
Not surprised at all because it's like they were so bad. And the seller, a week before closing, is putting them on Facebook Marketplace and can't even get $100 for them.
Right.
Because they're so gross.
Yeah.
So he's like, I don't know what to do. So he just puts them at the road and they get hauled off. And then the buyer's agent doesn't do a final walkthrough and we go to closing. And then after closing, she calls me frantic that the refrigerator, washer, and dryer is gone. And I screenshotted her the purchase agreement and said, you didn't ask for the refrigerator, washer, and dryer. And she said, but in MLS, it said it stays with the property. I said, you have to put it in the contract if your clients needed it. And she was upset.
Oh, my word.
And I said, she starts like fussing, yelling. I'm like, you need to call your broker. I can't help you. This isn't a problem on my end. I said, the appliances have been discarded.
Yeah.
Actually thrown away.
Trash.
And she had to purchase, I feel so bad for her, but also this is like a lesson to be learned on. She had to buy a new refrigerator, washer, and dryer.
She probably ended up with no commission.
No commission. None. It was a small house. There's no way.
Oh, my word.
No way. And I got the feel she really needed that money.
Oh, it's the worst.
It was sad. I could hear the panic in her voice. And yep, that's how that went.
But like your seller couldn't go get it out of the trash.
No.
Long gone.
Because I was like, maybe it's still at the road. No.
I do think, not that it's your responsibility, but it is an interesting story. You just be like, hey, as the listing agent, if your seller's like, I got to get rid of this washer, dryer, fridge, and you're like, yeah, I can double check again to see if the buyer wants it. Sometimes the buyers will take like the fridge and put it in the garage, right?
Yeah.
Like we'll have a second fridge. But it's not your responsibility as the listing agent. You did nothing wrong, but it is like the seller is having to do work, right?
I just had a situation where I have a townhome listed that a LSU student lived in. And they have pretty much completely vacated. It is vacant. The couch is still there. A bed is still there. But the cabinets, the closets, everything's empty. There's a little table and chairs. So the seller was saying, hey, let's let them know that during due diligence, if they want to negotiate any of the furniture,
right,
we could just leave it. And she told me, she was like, because I don't want it. I don't want to move it.
You were the listing?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So my seller said, I don't want to move it. Of course, I don't want them to know that. But she sent me the links to where she bought it from and how much they were.
Okay.
Well, during due diligence, buyer's like, no, I getting a bed is not going to fix this AC problem.
Right.
Like all of this.
Sure.
So we ended up not negotiating any furniture at all. So the seller said, do I need to make a special trip to Baton Rouge to empty this thing? I said, I don't know. Let me see. So I messaged the other agent and just said, hey, we had been done with negotiations. So I said, she does not want any of this furniture. Do your clients have any interest in keeping it? And she said, she called me back and said, hey, anything that they want to leave is fine. They'll take it. And then I'm like, do I need to get this in writing?
I mean, you almost.
I know.
Because if it wasn't in writing and the buyer shows up to walk through and has changed their mind, they can be like, get this out of here. And all of a sudden the seller's out of town or wherever. And it becomes a problem for them.
So maybe I write an addendum.
Messy. It's messy
just
again. I can't tell you how many times, and I don't know why, but I feel like it's getting more common in these last few years. The stupid furniture negotiations.
It's gotten so bad.
And now all of a sudden I'm like a furniture vendor. Like I've got to go back and forth between, I've had it on both sides. I've had my sellers say, here's a list of things we're willing to sell.
Yeah.
You work it out. Or I've had my buyer be like, here are the things that we want to either have if they don't want to take it or we want to purchase. And I'm like, oh my word. I mean, it goes back and forth and back and forth. And I'm like, look, at some point I almost feel like you need to talk to each other and handle this outside of closing. But at the same time, you don't want them talking to each other until closing.
And they can't talk about it after closing.
No,
because then the house is empty. Just a nuisance of the job, I think.
Oh, it is just a nuisance.
I did have it explained to me, and I know people know this, but just hearing it so black and white was helpful to me. But I had a lender, because I had a situation once over a boat.
Oh, you don't say.
The house had a cover for a boat.
Okay.
An old boat. It didn't look specifically appealing.
Did the boat float?
I don't know.
Okay.
Maybe. And so the buyer wanted it, and the seller said, okay, that's fine. I actually am downsizing and don't need the boat.
Okay.
And the lender was saying the reason that this cannot be in the purchase agreement is because we as mortgage lenders are only allowed to finance real estate.
Right.
Permanent attached real estate. We are not allowed to roll in a quote unquote loan for the boat.
Okay.
So the lender may say, well, you're paying, $425 for this house, but I see there is a boat included and they've never seen the boat. And the underwriter will kick it back to say, well, how much would the buyer pay for the house if the seller would not leave the boat?
But isn't an appraisal done to tell me the value of the house to satisfy the lender?
Yeah. But the appraisers will also see that there is a boat in the purchase agreement.
Are you telling me that if an appraiser showed up to a house with a water access and a boat parked there, that the appraiser would, or they're just appraising it with the boat because the boat is in the contract?
If the boat is in the purchase agreement, they have to consider that.
But what if it's like a washer, dryer, fridge and it says at no value? I don't understand. How does it apply to a boat and not to the washer, dryer, fridge?
I think every appraiser would handle this different. I think that if he gets there and he saw this boat that maybe doesn't float, he may not, and it says no value in the purchase agreement, I don't think it would be an issue.
Okay.
If he showed up and there was a decent looking boat there, I think he would have to put a note in the annotations to just say, boat is included, boat appears to be valuable. He would have to notate it somehow.
Okay.
And that's when things get messy.
What did the lenders say had to happen?
We had to delete it from the purchase agreement, and then we just did it.
You had an addendum?
Yeah, we did
that said the boat was staying at no value?
Yes, that just the buyer and the sellers had amongst themselves.
Fascinating.
But the lender did not want the word boat. Because I guess boats are just expensive. Even if it's a crummy boat, boats can be expensive.
I also wonder if it was just more of an insurance thing.
I don't know. All the things. I mean, I've had issues with golf carts being in a purchase agreement.
A big fancy lawnmower, like a riding lawnmower.
Yes. So to keep it tidy for your mortgage lenders, just be sure that agreements that can't be on the purchase agreement
I know.
need to at least be in writing elsewhere.
But this is where that also gets tricky. If your buyer, let's say, only wants the house if it comes with the boat, and you're sending 2 documents, like you got to make sure they both get signed in order for it to really make the total picture of what that buyer's expecting.
Yes.
Like, God forbid you do that verbally.
Uh-huh.
I don't know. Messy. It's very messy.
Very messy.
Okay. Can we talk about a grill for a second?
Yeah. Tell our grill story.
Oh my gosh. So I have a buyer. My buyer goes to the house. The buyer's like, I love this house. It's so great. I want to write an offer. I'm like, I love it so much. It's such a great house. You should totally do that. And then they tell me all the things they want to ask for. I'm like, no, hard no. First of all, the bedroom furniture, the this, the that, the closing costs, the this, that. I'm like, this is too much. This is too much. Let's pare it down. But buyer man's insisting on having this grill. I'm like, it wasn't like a green egg. I don't remember even noticing. It was a very small patio. I don't remember the grill.
Yeah.
I'm like, what? Okay, grill. Fine. If you insist. I would say no, but you insist. Seller responds and says, no grill.
No grill.
We want the grill. And other terms changed, right? And then my buyer goes back on again and it's like, okay, well, I'll agree to all the terms, but I really need the grill. I'm like, this triggers me to the refrigerator story. I'm like,
yes.
Are we really going to go back just over this grill? So I go to look on the MLS to try and see the grill. I'm like, it looks like your standard grill.
Yeah.
Like a $200 to $500 grill. I mean, it doesn't look exciting to me from the photo.
Right.
I'm like, oh my God. So then I'm like, hey, I think at this point I just asked, right?
Yeah.
Are we going to lose it over the grill? And apparently the seller was very attached to this grill.
Yeah, the seller was like, my wife got that for me for our anniversary.
It's a gift. I must have the grill.
I must keep the grill. It's sentimental to me. And so we have these 2 men
who are obsessed over this grill.
Yeah.
It was like the seller's emotional support grill.
Yes.
And the buyer was like, I got to have this grill. But he was like, okay, fine. I understand. We're moving on from the grilling. Thank the Lord.
Because we ended up looking it up.
Well, so when we went to the inspection, I'm like laughing with the buyer. I'm like, sorry you couldn't have that grill. That seller really wanted his grill. And he's like, yeah, I know. And I'm like, but it's not like anything great. He's like, yeah, it is. It's like a $2,000 grill. And I'm like, what? And I look outside. I'm like, oh, it was a Traeger.
Oh.
I couldn't remember. But I was also like, okay, great. It's a $2,000 grill, but it's also a used grill.
Yeah.
Like just
if you want a grill, treat yourself to a grill.
Own grill.
Yeah.
But it's just funny. People will fixate on the weirdest things.
They get stuck.
Super stuck. And I'm like, if the grill had been in there, it would just be another thing that you have to worry about. So what other parts are messy? Do you have any other messy issues with your contract or your process?
Well, now that I've remembered, Loopholes is out there.
You know where to go and find it.
I think that y'all should definitely go listen to that as a part 2. We always have issues with tidiness in regards to how repair requests are written.
Right.
We are huge advocates of money in lieu of repairs.
Thank you.
So that we can avoid messiness. One day, we might have another episode for you on that.
We probably will. But why? Why won't they listen? I tell the buyer and still they're insistent.
Sometimes you're at the mercy of your client.
I'm like, please ask for money. But look, going forward, I will actually utilize, later we'll tell you all the story.
Yes.
I will use that story to be like, listen, buyer.
This is why.
This is why.
And sometimes to get a buyer to understand your recommendation of money in lieu of repairs or why you shouldn't ask for the grill or the boat, sometimes you have to be like, listen, let me tell you this story of how it played out.
Yeah.
And use our stories. Like if you're new and you don't have stories, use these stories.
They're real, true.
They are real, true stories. And you can say, listen, Mr. Buyer, I know of an agent, a colleague, that this is what happened to them.
Yeah.
And it's just not worth it. And when I tell my buyers horror stories about how sellers did a repair, it scares them straight enough to be like, okay, yeah, we don't want to do that. Let's just ask for money. But it can get very tricky depending on how well you write the repair request. I mean,
I know.
Things have to be done so by the book.
It's very specific.
Very specific.
Oh, it stresses me just thinking about it.
I know. And we do it all the time.
It's the worst part of the process.
That's where I think the email templates are so handy because it reminds them of parts of the process. It guides them through parts of the process. They're in constant communication with you on you're not getting a lot of what happens now, what happens now.
I know.
And so it's just a reminder to not be overly rushed.
Yeah.
Also, I have noticed in our market that there are some brokerages making their own addendums.
Oh.
Making their own forms.
Wow.
So the Louisiana Real Estate Commission mandates the property disclosure, the purchase agreement. But last year, I received an offer on one of my listings, and it was contingent on the sale of the buyer's house.
Okay.
And the buyer's agent sent over this contingency addendum
I had
never seen, and it was small print. It should have been maybe 2.5 pages, but they fit it all on one page.
Okay.
And it was very legal sounding, very hard to understand. I was stressing that I'm missing something on it. I tried to just use the regular board contingency addendum. I'm sorry, my broker requires us to use this one. I'm like, is that because on line 78, it says that none of your timeframes even start until your client's house is under contract, which would delay everything?
Everything.
Like, we're not using this.
Right.
We're not using this.
Did y'all use it?
No.
Oh, okay.
I was like,
Did they buy the house?
We switched over to the board contingency addendum, which forced them to proceed with their inspection and loan application and keep the process rolling. And they never could sell their house. So, but because we switched over, I now have an inspection report. My sellers know what to do.
Yeah.
We've been through some helpful things. Yeah, we wasted time off the market, kind of. But otherwise, we would have benefited nothing.
No.
Not a thing.
No.
So just be mindful. If it's a new form, if you're doing new construction and the builder has their own addendum.
You have to read them all.
Oh my!
It's the worst.
Just get your highlighter out. Katie has a new highlighter that's so cool.
Fancy highlighters,
What's it
y'all.
called?
I feel like it was a gel highlighter. I feel like it was Sharpie brand, maybe.
Sharpie gel.
Y'all.
And this is not an advertisement.
At all. But it is a great highlighter.
It is the smoothest. It's like
it's like a wax pen,
like
almost.
A crayon highlighter, but I don't really like crayons.
Yeah, it's crazy. And you twist it up like it's not like a wet ink. You twist it up like a deodorant. It's like deodorant highlighter.
Yes. It's amazing.
It's like a clear
it'll help
deodorant
you
highlighter. Either way,
it'll help you scanning
because you've got to read the whole stupid builder thing.
So just get you a waxy highlighter print it out and make sure you're laying eyes on everything.
It's like drink an extra cup of coffee and
sit down.
You have to read it.
I just went to all of our 2026 training at our office.
Right.
To go through all the new updates to the purchase agreement and the property disclosure. And I just highlighted to keep awake.
I will say this. I am appreciative of our LREC and our board.
Oh, yeah.
You went to, did your office do that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, I'm in a tiny office, right? We don't really meet. It's just sort of like I'm on my own, if you will. So I got the email from the LREC that said, the new form, the new property disclosure, the new purchase agreement are released. The great thing about that is they give it to you in the red line version. So they have highlighted for you what exactly changed from last year and explained to you why and what the difference is. So I, being a smart agent who knows I have to understand this, learned it on my own.
Yeah.
I just pulled it up. I'm like, okay, well, let me read what the changes were.
I served on the committee at LREC that revises the purchase agreement and property disclosures. I did this 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And it is long,
I know,
grueling, but I love it. Like,
it's fascinating.
I'm reading all the requests that come in and all the emails that come in. And, we take it very seriously. But also we're like, oh, this is that way because the agent got burned. And it's like every time someone gets burned, we can't make
That's
that
why
section.
It's so long.
Yes.
And also why things that need to get fixed, like an initial on a page with a signature, which is fully redundant, get fixed.
Did you notice they cleaned up much of that?
They cleaned up a lot of stuff. But have a statewide. These are statewide.
Mhm.
So when those requests come in, they're from rural middle
Oh
of
my
Louisiana.
gosh.
They're from New Orleans. They're from everywhere.
So this is not helpful for you. This is just a story.
Let's hear it.
But on our purchase agreement, mineral rights used to not only be its own separate paragraph,
Yeah.
but they made it bold and they put a box around it.
Yes.
An actual square.
Uh-huh.
And this is a blank that in Baton Rouge,
You just ignore almost.
We-
I mean, you fill it in, but it's not
You
like no one ever reserves their mineral rights.
have you ever put anything in that blank where a seller reserved their
No.
And I know in other areas this is a big box,
deal.
big
Yeah.
box, which is why I'm bringing this up as an example, because we had several messages being like, can we just make this fit in with the rest of the purchase agreement instead of standing out? It'll be more efficient.
People didn't want it to stand out.
Correct. But then we had people in Louisiana that are in really rural farm areas who are like, leave the box, leave the box.
We have to talk about it.
Ultimately, we deleted the box because we're like, every blank needs to be talked about.
Yeah.
Putting it bigger and bold in a square doesn't make it more or less important
Just
than
makes us feel like you aren't talking about the other parts.
Yes.
Like, what do you mean?
Yes, is mineral rights the only part?
They were like, that's the most important.
But we got a big kick out of that, laughed about it. Like, yeah, some agent really got screwed
like,
over here.
I can't forget to fill this in.
Yeah. Whoever got that approved to be put in a box, they must have really had a disaster.
They were like adamant. Millions of dollars were lost.
But it is interesting to be on that committee and hear why people think something needs to be changed, what they went through that has made them this way now, and like,
yeah, who hurt you?
Who hurt you? Yeah, that's exactly how it went.
Who hurt you?
And then we all go out for drinks after and laugh and laugh.
I mean, look, because it is serious. That's why the committee is basically out with their magnifying glasses.
There are people who have magnifying glasses.
And they are looking at literally every word.
Yeah.
Every single word is important because, as we said in the beginning, it is a legally binding contract.
When you're new, Connie makes us write the purchase agreement line by line in layman's terms.
I love that.
I probably am due for that.
I love it so much.
I know.
Oh my gosh. Will you be reading us a toast today?
I am reading us a toast all the way from Boston.
Oh, I love it.
And listen how cool this is.
Oh.
This is from a non-agent.
Oh.
She is not a realtor.
You don't say.
Uh-huh.
Okay, keep going.
Because I'm like, I can't find her company because she's not even licensed.
Oh my gosh.
This is from Nicole.
Nicole, does Nicole have a last name? Does she want to
No,
be identified? Just Nicole.
Just Nicole.
Okay, Nicole.
And I couldn't find anything on her because she's not an agent.
Nicole in Boston.
There's no real estate website.
Okay, great. Let's go.
And she may not be from Boston. You'll see.
Okay, please go.
I'd love to raise a toast to Alex Blizzard, a real estate agent here in Boston. So yes, she's from Boston.
Okay, good.
I found one of her listings on Instagram as a buyer and reached out simply to connect and learn more about real estate because I knew absolutely nothing about the process. Alex was incredibly generous with her time, thoughtful with her advice, and so encouraging. She walked me through what getting started in real estate could actually look like and helped me understand how to make the transition the right way. That conversation was the push I needed to take the leap into real estate.
Oh my gosh.
She then told me to start listening to you ladies. And honestly, this was the game changer.
Nicole.
Hustle Humbly completely reframed how I think about this industry and gave me the confidence to move forward. I'm taking the exam soon, and I just wanted to shout out to Alex for being the kind of woman who truly supports other women at the very beginning of their journey. So here's to Alex. Here's to Hustle Humbly, and here's to paying it forward.
Nicole, that's delightful. I hope she passed.
I know.
And I want to know her last name. So Nicole, please reach out when you hear this. I hope you were wanting to learn about the messiness of real estate, so you hear.
I'm going to write me a note to email her.
Well, just message Alex. She'll know who it is.
Message.
Okay, I love this so much. But
How
while
cute
you
is
were reading that, it kind of gave me a little light bulb. Okay, y'all know that we ask you to send in your toast.
Mm-hmm.
We want it in audio, ideally even video, but we will take them like this written and we will read it for you, whatever. If you are listening and you are not an agent, but you have used an agent that you would like to toast to,
Yes.
that would be so fun.
That would be fun.
Sort of like live read testimonials.
Yes.
I know I have a little handful of, I remember hearing people who are not agents who listen. If you are a non-agent and you listen to this show for whatever crazy reason, and you have ever bought or sold with an agent that you loved, will you send us a toast?
We want to hear about it.
But I want to hear specifics.
Yes.
Why did you love them? What did they do right? What did you love about the process? What did you hate about? I want it detailed because it'll be like a little sweet message for them, a toast, but also a little case study.
How cool would that be?
What made people think that was a good agent?
Yeah.
This is my new mission.
Okay, let's do it.
I don't know how to do it, but
We're going to figure it out.
I'm going to figure it out. Okay, bye everyone.
Keep your contracts tidy. Wait, before you go, if you enjoyed this episode and if we brought you value, take a minute to rate the show, leave a review, or drop a comment.
We are giving away our best stuff for free. Find it at hustlehumblypodcast.com/freebies.
We'd also love to see you in Hustle Humbly community. Join us there at hustlehumblypodcast.com/membership.
We love chatting with you in our DMs. Find us on social media at Hustle Humbly Podcast and say hello.
If you have an episode topic or someone you'd like to toast on the show, please email us at teen@hustlehumblypodcast.com.
Thank you so much for tuning in to the Hustle Humbly Podcast. See you next week.